you guys doing?
Pretty well. By yourself?
Great. Going to our 9th practice for Friday Night Lights. Second year doing this. We moved it to drink due to the amount of people that we had last year. So, we wanted to be more accommodating to the fans, the recruits, to the donors, to alumni, and just make a nice event for kind of like the halftime of spring ball.
I know you probably can't say anything specifically, but how have your last, let's say, 72 hours gone since Wednesday?
We have a newborn at home, so I have a 7-week-old baby, and then I have an 18-month-old, and there's a 9-year-old, there's a 15-year-old, 13, so my days have been pretty hectic, but I think it's a good hectic.
What are you looking to get out of this this practice in particular? It's kind of like a second spring game, if you will, because the other one's going to be at the Rose Bowl. What are you expecting to get out of this event?
For us, this is really just a practice. This is still our 9th practice, and just like I was just telling my guys right now, that we have to get something out of this practice. I know that the stuff around the field is changing. We changed the location, but we're still playing football, and you need to come out here and get better today. So I'm just excited for everything, and now it's kind of good to see guys in a different environment with a little bit more pressure to come out here and practice and perform well.
Have you had any discussions with Joey Aguilar regarding his future here and how he's been performing?
We talked to Joey, just like every other quarterback that's in that room, and discuss what's going on or what's not going on and how he's practicing and everything. So I like where Joey's at right now, and hopefully he can keep progressing as spring goes.
Does he like where he's at?
I would say that he does. Each week, each day, he's getting better. And inserting his leadership on the team, so we can just continue with that.
Because there's a lot of things happening around that players can see, fans can see, and I know you can't address specifically, but how do you deal with that from an outsider's point of view, looking in, thinking that there's issues that need to be addressed?
Control what you can control. So, as a football player, that's what you got to do. You play a big-time stadium. When we go to Ohio State, you got to control what you can control. So, if you can't perform because there's a little bit of noise, that's probably not a good thing. But from what I've seen from Joey these last few practices, he's been good.
What do you know how many recruits are going to be here tonight?
I wish I had a number, but it's pretty high. So
Like 100?
I would get to I would say on the bottom end 250. Just on the bottom end.
What's something you kind of want fans to maybe take away from this, like learn from this program tonight that they may not already know about you guys and your team that you're building this year?
Just seeing just the belief in how these guys practice, mostly. So fans want to support is the product. So as long as we're putting a good product out there, and I think we did a pretty good job last season with just the way that they approached the game and played throughout those games. And if we continue to practice like that, we're just going to continue to get better. So I'm just excited for this team, and going into week 3 of spring ball is going good.
It's only been 2 weeks, but what have you seen from the offense? What excites you? What do you think maybe needs a little bit more work?
Really exciting me is up front. Some of those pieces of adding O-line, and they've panned out, and they're doing a really good job. So we're able to run the ball, and Joey has time to throw the ball downfield.
When you bring in a recruit, whether it's a high school kid or a transfer, you have to do background and find out if they can fit into your culture. Can you explain how you're able to decide that and to make sure that person will fit in?
Mostly kids that you end up bringing in, you might have a previous relationship with them. You might have met them in some situation or some way, being in Southern Cal. So I think most of the kids that we've brought in, actually I know most of the kids that we've brought in are wired the right way and are the kind of kids that we want.
Coach, talking about the Roommates for Life program and how instrumental that is to build the program aside from the local recruiting and such, but how instrumental is that for you to get key portal transfers?
Room for Life is huge. That's the number one key that unlocks everything. So, I'm just glad that we have the type of support that we have with Room for Life and able to raise money and allow me to be in the conversation with certain type of players to be able to bring them here to this university.
Did you have to tell your guys anything specific, just as far as maybe staying within themselves on a setting like this as opposed to maybe your regular practice setting?
The only thing I really wanted to just let them know the surface changed, so we're on grass. We did a couple walkthroughs out here just to make sure everybody has their footing and has the right type of cleats, but other than that, they should be good.
We spoke to Key on Tuesday. You kind of talked about the passion Coach Mead brings to the game, and Nico said the same about Coach Malloy. How have you gone about cultivating such a passionate, personable, and cohesive coaching staff, especially when some of them are new?
Just trying to get coaches that I like to play for. You know, when I played, it was like the coaches that I was gravitating towards. You know, so I'm using that same type of thing when I'm recruiting coaches. I like the way he coaches, his coaching style. I was very familiar with the way Coach Mead coaches because I was with him previously. And same thing with Coach Franklin. That was my D-line coach when I was here as a player. So some of the guys that I brought in, I was very familiar with.
Nico Dabier was talking about how being in LA puts him in certain positions for partnerships, sponsorships. Is that something that you maybe want the recruits tonight to kind of take away from this type of event and how it offers them exposure, a little bit of the flashiness of LA?
You just really want to understand that in LA you can really capitalize on name, image, and likeness. Not NIL, name, image, and likeness. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really can capitalize on that. So it's just letting them know like what the landscape here is in LA and that you can really capitalize on it.
Like personal branding.
Exactly.
What does Coach Mead bring to the defense, and who's standing out amongst the secondary?
Just a coach that has a lot of experience, does a great job of getting the guys to believe in him, and it's just night and day from last season. You know, just seeing them. The DBs are the first group in the building. That's probably one of our biggest groups. You know, so like I said, we're always competing in everything that we do, and right now the DBs have probably like 10 golds, because I give gold, silver, bronze to the first 3 groups that come in, and then the bottom 3 I keep track of that too. And I think that the DBs could lose the rest of the spring and still be in first place. So they're doing a great job of being the first group in the building and really taking to his coaching and elevating their game. But guys that I've seen out there that's doing well, Andre Jordan, you know, he's doing a good job. Key Lawrence. Aaron in the backfield, back there too, playing a little safety and corner. Excited to get Cole back and Kanye, because those are guys, but just seeing them do a little bit of stuff with some of the walk-throughs, you're excited about them. But Scooter's doing a good job too. But you know, everybody that we brought in, I think they're actually coming into their own and doing a good job. But these are all guys that were able to get here and winning. So you're able to assert your leadership with the team, lifting weights and stuff like that. Not just being vocal, but actually letting them see the way that you work, and that helps guys want to follow you.
What about Carson Cox? He called him the best running back last year. Is he living up to that? So
most definitely, Carson's doing a great job, especially being a freshman running back. He came in early, changed his body completely, probably put on 12 pounds already. So you know, we had our first Pride Alley, and he did a good job in that. The other day, he was able to score 2 touchdowns. So I'm just excited for Carson.
next DeShaun Foster.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far. I'm just kidding. But no, if he can come in and play as a freshman, then yeah, I think his ceiling could be a little bit higher than mine. And I'm just excited to see him because he's such a good kid.
You mentioned Key. We spoke to him earlier. He just seems like such an animated, energetic addition to this team. Could you talk about his role both on and off the field?
Just like you said, he's somebody that brings the energy. He's always going to be excited. You're going to hear him before you see him, you know, and that's just cool when you have guys that, when they get out on this football field, they really enjoy what's going on. So the rest of the team, you can see that they kind of feed off his energy. And, you know, I just like when we have guys like that that can help us and bring guys along and just lead vocally and on the field. Thank you. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.